Okay.
Hey Jim, Cre'Von is going to practice this week. What are your expectations and what does he bring to you guys?
Well, we'll take it one day at a time, see what he looks like physically. He's only been working on the side with trainers, so he's never been out with not only the position coaches but also against other players. So we need to see what he looks like that way. But if he looks good, then we'll get him back into the swing as quick as we can. It'll be nice to have him back. He's an important member of our defense last year, and we certainly have roles that he can fill.
Hey Jim, the secondary as a whole, early in the season we kind of talked about when they were struggling, some communication issues. How far do you think they've come as a group in that part of it?
I don't know. We still got a long way to go. I think that communication is important, and you have experienced players that are used to playing together. I think that makes a big difference. It all works hand in hand.
In the three safety dime that you play, why did you want Marcus Epps in there as opposed to maybe moving a cornerback like Avonte over?
Well, we liked Avonte where he was. That was an important matchup against 16. I thought he did an outstanding job. A guy had one catch, and that guy's an outstanding receiver. And we have confidence in Marcus. We got him up in the swing of things, and he was able to roam that middle of the field. Again, just using the guys that we have available.
What was it about Seattle that made you go with the three safety dime as opposed to the four corner dime?
Well, just matchups probably the most. Just the way they were lined up. Some of those things. It's different every single week. It's really hard to go through all the different layers that go into those matchups, but that's what it was.
The last 3-4 games, Jim, your blitz has been much more effective than it was early on. Any difference? Have you made any adjustments? Is just guys that are playing better when you send extra guys?
Yeah, I think the corners obviously have a lot to do with it. Now, I put extreme amount of pressure on the corners in this last game. I mean, it's hard to play Russell Wilson and try to contain not only the pass game but all his scrambles unless your corners are going to have to shoulder a extremely heavy burden. And we also knew going into the game that they weren't going to be perfect. Our message to those guys was you give up a completion, bounce right back, and compete the next play. And I thought, those guys did a good job with that. But we put a lot of pressure on those guys to make those plays. And I think that the other thing with blitz, it's never just one guy. It's everybody doing their job within the scheme. All 11 guys need to execute, or you can look bad in blitz, whether it's a physical mistake or a mental mistake. I like where we've been going that way.
How did Nigel look upon his return?
17-9. It was nice to have him back out there, but we don't take any, we don't take any other, views of how we played other than the final score. But he didn't look rusty. Stepped back in, played in all our packages, did a good job communicating, did a good job tackling. Even the tackles he missed them full speed, and we were able to clean those guys up quickly afterwards. And I've said that before. If you have good team pursuit, you have good team speed, it covers up some of those misses that might be more glaring if you don't have good pursuit or good speed.
Jim, Malcom was saying after the game that as a defense, the way the offense has been playing, you're going to have to be prepared to win games 12-9 or 9-6. I mean, does that put added pressure on the defense, to be perfect and that you can't really make any mistakes if the offense isn't going to score a lot?
Just the way it goes. I mean, however you win the game, it's a matter of winning the game, and however you lose the game, you didn't get the job done. So, every game is different. Conditions are different. Injuries are different for your team and for their team. Relative strengths of a team, whether they're a running team, passing team, all those things go into it. Our attitude all the time is do whatever it takes to win the game. And again, whether it's 30-29 or whether it's 7-3, just try to come out with a win.
Along those lines, Jim, is it realistic in modern day NFL to have that be the formula where you just ride a dominant defense to low-scoring wins consistently?
Take it anywhere we can get it.
Jim,
Is it
we see the
realistic?
defense.
Is what I'm asking.
Every week is realistic. You go out and play on Sunday, it's realistic. So, again, we just try to do whatever it takes to win that week.
Laterals after a turnover can get a big play. We have also seen balls kind of bouncing around and losing the ball. Do you want your guys doing that, trying to get extra yards, or would you rather just kind of play it safe?
No, it depends. It's the same thing with scooping up a ball as opposed to diving on it. I think sometimes you see, I will say this, guys over the last, seems like maybe 5 years, maybe it's been longer, and we work it a lot, so maybe there's that, but defense players have gotten so good at scooping balls. It used to be that was, coaches were like, we don't want to scoop anything, dive on it, get the ball. And now you see guys reach down with one hand and, and pick a ball up and go score. And, guys have just gotten a lot better at that. So, I think that goes hand in hand with your lateral question. Our philosophy on that is always, if it's clean and you can make a safe lateral, then go ahead, let's try to go score. I mean, there's certain situations, you intercept the ball with a minute left and the team's got no timeouts, get down, I mean, you don't want to be throwing that ball around there. But if you have it, if it's a clean look, it's not dirty at all, then let's go try to make a play, certainly.
Did you have any problem with your team after that interception? It was kind of an elaborate celebration, down 14 points. Did that bother you at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty old school, I mean, I'm old school when it comes to celebrations or music at practice, I probably got the biggest get off my lawn sign in the whole neighborhood. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Baltimore, I mean, like, swag was Johnny Unitas with black high tops and a crew cut, I mean, that's the way I grew up. But I think you got to also, like, set that scene. We had just taken the field after fourth or fifth turnover, one of those. I don't remember what it was. There was 10 minutes left in the game. I think that's right around the scene right there. And if we give up a score there, the game's pretty much over because it turns into a 3-score game, and it would be probably inside 8-9 minutes, and that's a tough situation to be in. So we had a job to do. We had to go out in the field and get a stop. And not only get a stop, but the ability to get the ball back in that situation. We actually caused 2 fumbles in a row, and we're able to get those and, give our offense a chance. It didn't work out for us. But we ask our guys to go out on the field and play with some passion and play with some excitement. And, I don't know what the rule book is when it comes to stuff like that, but I would certainly, from an old school guy like me, I didn't have a problem with that. I mean, we expect them to go out on the field and be excited and play with some passion. I'd much rather have that headline be written about us or that criticism be out there about us than, whatever defense took the field dejected. I think that, I like the resiliency our guys have shown in those situations. I mean, we a lot of those getting the ball back. So we got to forced a fumble late against Minnesota when the game was sort of out of reach. We got an interception against Dallas that sort of gave us a fighting chance. We got to stop and block the kick against Detroit. I like the fact that the guys go out there and play passionate football and, and have an attitude to get a stop and a never say die attitude. I think those are all positives. I don't view those as negatives.
You said you'll take it as it comes, and you said even if it's 30-29, but you guys haven't allowed more than 17 points in a game since week 7. What in particular has changed? You've mentioned personnel, but is there anything beyond players getting back?
I don't know. I think that as the season goes on, you sort of find your formula. Last year was different than this year, and there was a lot of different different situations that came up early in the season. Anything else? We've sort of found a formula right now that our guys are executing well.
What's that formula?
Different every week. Different philosophy. Same. within the execution, I don't know. I mean, our guys, like I said, I think schemes change from week to week. I think what you're seeing on defense is you're seeing guys that are playing with passion, guys that are enjoying playing with each other, that are communicating well, that are tackling well, that are covering well, rushing well. I'll throw that in there too. I mean, I mean, it's tough to get after Russell Wilson, but our guys did a really good job of executing that plan, and even when we weren't blitzing, our guys still put good pressure on him and limited his mobility. That's an outstanding player. I said that last week at this time. We knew we were going to have our work cut out for us trying to get him stopped, and I'm proud of the way the guys have been playing.
The formula was, 14 blitzes and 31 pass plays against him is a lot against anybody, particularly a guy like that. I'm assuming that's not going to be something you're going to look to every week, that it was a situational thing?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, every player's different. Every game plan is different. I don't know if we would have characterized every single one of those as blitzes. Those somebody else statting it might be a blitz to them, where it's really not a blitz for us, which maybe is good, because maybe we're disguising it, and it has some effect that way. So
What could have been done differently on the trick play that went for a touchdown?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, the one against New England last week, we were fooled on the play. We were over aggressive and jumped up and got fooled. This one, we weren't fooled. It was just a really good play by them. They were able to split the defense. Both the corner and the safety were there. Quarterback made a great throw. Again, we put a lot of emphasis to getting guys up front. We were going to put some pressure on the coverage. I didn't view that as letting the guard down. I just viewed that as, they found that seam right between the safety and the corner, and they made a good play.
Jim, in those back-to-back weeks now with the trick plays scoring a touchdown against you guys, is there anything to be said about the fact that teams are having to use those trick plays against you guys to score, or are we reading too much into that?
They all count the same. We'll try to stop trick plays more than everything else. If they start counting for, 7 points instead of 6, I've had that same question with, what about too many rushing touchdowns or too many passing touchdowns or whatever? They all count the same. I think you can go overboard. You try to play too conservatively to stop a trick play, then you're not going to stop a lot of other stuff. If you play too aggressively to stop the run, you can be susceptible to pass. If you just take an approach, we're going to keep touchdown passes off the board, you can get 5 touchdowns, run up your defense. Just try to play good, sound overall defense and let the chips fall where they may.
You brought up Epps and you talked about Cre'Von. What does it say about the work of Corey and Tim that they've been able to integrate these guys, new guys, into the secondary constantly over the last 2 years? What does it say about them as coaches?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we get paid for. They've done an outstanding job having guys ready and being able to fill different roles. It hasn't all been the same. It hasn't just been, we just play nickel and moving one guy in there, or we just move one guy into this position. We've had some guys that have had to play out of position. We've had some guys that we, just got new. We've had other guys that have been here for a while. But when you can put all those pieces together to sort of match what you're doing on Sunday, I think it's a very important and it's a critical thing to do defensively. Those guys certainly have done a good job, and the players have done a good job with it. It takes a lot. Like, we talk a lot in here about Malcom, and he plays. So he's played 7 different positions in our defense. That's not an easy thing to do. It's hard enough to learn one position and have the skill set to play one position. But we have a significant number of other guys that play 2 and 3 different positions. It talks about their preparation and their dedication and their intelligence.
Jim, what concerns you about Ryan Fitzpatrick? He's totally different than Wilson.
Yeah, he still does have some mobility. I was just watching up there and watching some other teams spy him. And I was, looking, it's like, man, that's Fitzpatrick. He's 36 years old. He still has good mobility. He's got a rifle for an arm. He's got one of the best fastballs in the NFL, and he can fit the ball into some tight windows. They haven't really been a consistent team rushing the football this year, so a lot of it has fallen to him. But they won 2 out of the last 4. And I think that says a lot about him too, as a quarterback. That's, it didn't look good for them early in the season, but, they found a way to win 2 out of the last 4, and we're going to have to play good on defense to come out with a win.
Jim, what was the, Seattle ran really effectively against you, not just Wilson. What were they doing that made them do so much better than other teams have?
Well, I mean, they got on the edge, I think one time made some yards. Really, the biggest thing was just the one play. And, we didn't fit it great up front, and then we missed a tackle, and that's what happens. You combine those two things, and it's going to be long runs. And what was that, 50, 58? Yeah, 58's going to make your run defense look bad. So we have to do a better job there. Okay? All right, guys.